4th and goal to go to 2. 34 seconds left to go in the ball game. This is the play right now. Takes the snap. Targeted goes in. Targeted all alone. And the quarterback keeps. Wow, what a call. Nobody touched him.
Here is Jeff, the host of the Gridiron.
They won big time on this trade. Now, when you're a general manager, there's no general manager out there that goes 100%. That's almost, pretty much, it goes without saying. You try to win most of them, right? I don't know, whatever, 3 out of every 4, whether it's a draft pick, whether it's a free agent signing, or whether it's a trade, or whatever it is. You try to win 2 out of everything. There's nobody goes 100%. Right. But what he did do, right, was, with the trade, right, and he's looking very nice right now with Brian Burns. Now the one thing that I hate about those type of trades, right, especially if you miss, because you got to shell out draft picks. That's one. Then you got to shell out money. That's 2. And boy, you do the double dipper there. You better have a pot of gold at the end of that rainbow. It's kind of like one thing, if you just, I don't know, whatever, maybe you trade and you get somebody in return and they're still on their rookie deal or something like that. You don't have to shell out a ton of money. Or if you get them and they're a free agent and you have to shell out a bunch of money, but you don't have to trade draft picks or something like that, But it's the way it is. But when you have to shell out some draft picks, and as I said, Shane has not hit 100%. His first couple drafts are not overly phenomenal, but we've seen the past couple of drafts haven't been too bad, right? So, the picks that Shane gave away to get Burns, he certainly could have, done some damage with some of those draft picks that he gave up. Of course, then you have to pay. It's like, you're dishing out almost $30 million a year to a guy. It's like, guy better be good, and so far. Now, to be fair, last season, Burns had he did very good, but he was like, there's always something wrong with the guy. I'm certainly not saying he's 100% now. You play one game in the NFL and you're dinged up. I don't care for the whole season. It's impossible. Yeah, that's not happening. John Madden used to say, right? I don't know exactly, but I'm not going to argue with him. But he used to say he played one down. I think he said one down in the NFL. Your body's. I don't think he said one game. I think he said if you played one down in the NFL, your body's never the same. Right? He would know. Not that he played. Because he was in training camp, I think, with the Eagles, and he blew his knee out or ripped his knee up or whatever it was, and so he couldn't come back. So then he got into coaching. Okay, but. He was around a bunch of players. He's seen stuff happen to players and everything like that. So he would know a thing or two. But it seemed like last season, Burnsy was always something like a groin or this or that. There's always something wrong with him. But I'll tell you what, that guy every week went out there and gave it his all. Every week. Whatever was wrong with him, the dude was out there. And so far, he's tied for the lead with 5 sacks. The sack he had, that's what you want. Okay, now to be fair, obviously the Chargers' offensive line was banged up. But when you have good pass rushers and their offensive line is bad, you got to take over the situation, right? You got to dominate. That's what they did, right? But one thing you want to see is when one of your big players, one of your big time players, right? Makes big plays in big situations. And that sack he had on Herbert was huge. Oh, it was huge, right? made where they had a punt back to the Giants. Okay, that was a huge sack. But not only that, he's had a sack in every game. Okay, so he's done very, very well. Now, of course, um, knock on wood, right? Some guys help other guys open things up, like obviously the presence of Abdul Carter. Okay, Sexy Dexy, he gets two guys most of the time, right? Abdul, you can only double team so many guys, right? So last year they had Kayvon, they had Burnsy, and they had Sexy. Okay, now they got the fearsome foursome. Okay, and so far they're still healthy. Nobody's missed any time for the most part. I mean, Dexter's getting his sea legs back in him, right? But they're all still healthy, right? And they all feed off of each other and everything like that. But so far, I mean, the Burns trade is real, and we got him for 5 years, right? Now he's as old as Sexy, okay, 7th year, I think it is. So they're in their prime, right? But somewhere along the line, they're going to start, so it's two real good guys that we got on the defense that are in their prime. And, it's a shame. You hate having like somebody like Andrew Thomas, Malik Neighbors, Sexy, Brian Burns, Abdul Carter. You have these guys, and like the season, you don't do well in a season. It's almost like a lost season. It's like another season with these great guys we have on our team, and couldn't do anything with them. It's like, but so far the Burns trade has really, really worked out well. So the Giants are quietly winning big on the trade everyone thought was reckless. Safe to say that Schoen isn't feeling burned by this decision. Now, I'll tell you what, man. I'll tell you what, Burns, love you, man. Thank you so much, man. Fantastic. He's taking this seriously. He's trying to do the best he can. He's taking. It's not. He's not. It's just not. He's just. Ain't this? He's. But he's also proven it on the field too. I mean, the guy's been a freaking warrior, absolute freaking warrior. Man, that was fantastic trade. So and we all know this. Joe Schoen didn't exactly inherit a dream scenario when he took over as general manager of the Giants in 2022. 4 years later, it's still hard to sell fans on this regime as one that is worth extending. The roster is starting to take shape, thanks to mostly to rookie Jaxson Dart looking like the answer, but there's still just as many questions as there were back then. Schoen isn't sitting comfortably. Another slow start to the season will do that. However, the Giants' impressive 21-18 Week 4 stunner of the previously undefeated Los Angeles Chargers might be the turning point he needs to get back in the good graces of fans. Some moves fell flat. Others gave this team a fighting chance to climb out of the pits it's been stuck in for years. And Schoen swung for the fences trade for the pass rusher Brian Burns is proving to be one of the smartest moves of his tenure. Giants trade for Brian Burns is aging better than anyone expected. At the beginning of the 2024 offseason, Schoen swung a deal with the Carolina Panthers to bring Burns to East Rutherford. Big Blue gave up a second and fifth round picks, along with a fifth round pick swap to get the deal done. So basically, we swapped fifth round picks, right? But we gave up a second round pick, right, and a fifth round pick for Burnsy, right? At the time, reactions were mixed. Teams don't usually part with day 1 or day 2 picks in the middle of a rebuild, but Schoen believed the 2-time Pro Bowler was worth it. Not only did it cost them draft capital, it cost them financially as well too. And that's the thing. It better work out. I mean, if you're doing that, cost your draft capital and financially, man, it better work out, boy. Let me tell you what. But with the often injured Azeez Ojulari, okay, I mean, to be honest with you, I mean, Azeez, when he's healthy and he's on the field, I'll tell you what, he's a really good edge rusher, but he's always injured. It seemed like he was always injured. So we needed somebody a little more reliable, right? Then they didn't bring Aziz back. They let him go. But so we got Kayvon, okay, and we got Brian Burns, and then we got Sexy Dexy up the middle. Now we got Carter. We got the Fab Four, right? They immediately signed Burns to a 5-year, $141 million deal, making him the second highest paid edge rusher behind Nick Bosa at $28.2 million per year. Some saw it as a long-term investment. Others questioned his fit on the rebuilding roster and whether his production justified the price. Burns' first season with the G-Men was good. He recorded 8.5 sacks, 17 tackles for loss, 16 quarterback hurries, and an 82.9 pass rushing grade. Pro Football Focus. That alone wouldn't necessarily make the Giants big winners of the trade, but in year 2, he's turning the Panthers' decision into an outright embarrassment. The 27-year-old is on an absolute tear to start 2025. Through 4 games, he leads the league in sacks with 5, has 6 tackles for loss, 13 quarterback pressures, and an 88.7 PFF grade, which is 9th out of 165 defensive ends. He's just off the pace to challenge Michael Strahan's single-season sack record at 22.5. If he keeps this up, he's looking at his 3rd Pro Bowl, his first All-Pro nod, and maybe even Defensive Player of the Year. Their team success will have something to say about that. That's true. That's true. Now, one of the things the Giants can help, which would be huge in that area, which is, easier said than done, is to get a lead. Keep a lead, okay? Get out in front, right? Make the other team have to throw the ball where he can get in the edge position and just tee off, either, on a stunt, a twist, or whatever, just take off from the, right after the tackle, right? Right? But the Giants can get a lead, keep the lead, and force the other team to kind of like maybe throw the ball. That gives them more sack opportunities. The thing is when the Giants don't have a lead, they can't stop the run. What's preventing the other team from running the ball? Well, if the other team has a lead and they're running the ball, well, Burns, he ain't getting no pressures. He ain't getting no sacks. He ain't getting no hits, right? So the biggest thing the Giants could do to help them out, obviously, would be to get a lead, keep the lead, right? With the Panthers sitting only just 2 lowly sacks through their first 4 games. Wow. 2. You can guarantee they're kicking themselves for sending Burns away. With no zeros, ascension, and Carolina struggling laughably, Schoen and company are looking like big winners by the week. Hindsight's a funny thing. There were doubts early on, but now it's pretty clear this might be one of Shane's best goals yet. So, I mean, he, it wound up working out. Really worked out well. I mean, we had the bookends. Okay, I think they're all really, benefiting. Off of each other, right? I mean, because you got Sexy's always getting double teamed. Carter, I mean, the dude is just, he really looks unbelievable. I mean, it's like anytime, it's almost laughable, really. It really is almost laughable. Okay, he's not getting the sacks. Okay, but I'll tell you what, man, you line that dude up on the edge against, it's like almost any tackle, and they snap the ball. It's a joke. It really is a joke. I mean, it just the ways he dips around the edge, or he goes up and he spins off the tackle and comes in the inside. It's just amazing how fast that guy is. It's unbelievable. But they all have to, feed off each other, right? I mean, because if obviously, if they might want to send a back out there to chip on something like that, right? Maybe have the tackle, right? Have an inside, keep to the inside, maybe have Burns, Carr or something, maybe try to come around the edge, but you send the back out there, maybe chip on him or something. But you can only put 2 blockers on only so many guys, so that's why, they're all feeding off each other. When somebody's getting dealt with a team like Sexy, that means, almost everybody else is almost getting a single, blocker. You got to win those, right? And so far, Burns, Carter are doing a phenomenal job of that. And you know, and Kayvon's doing pretty well too. He's doing pretty well too. Now, thankfully, the Giants, right, picked up Kayvon's fifth-year option. So that means next year we're gonna have the Fab Four back again. Okay, so at least this season and next season we got those four guys. So that's fantastic. But I mean, as of right now, I mean, yeah, Barnes is really, I mean, and the thing is that sometimes you get some of these guys that come in and they get paid and all of that. Some, not many, but some guys, they think they're just like, I don't know, privilege and stuff like that. Yeah, they get their sacks and I mean, Barnes he's like dead serious as they come in. I mean, he is Mr. Professional. And, as many bad things as you can say about the Giants, as many bad things as you can say about Schoen and Dable and all that, this trade to get Burns was really, really good. Really, really good.